Hey there, happy B-Day. Happy day 863, which rhymes with B, of What's She Up To Now. She being Sharon Horne-Ellstrom, me, as I document my journey from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. I started doing it, obviously, a little over 863 days ago, just sharing what's working, what's not, what is super frustrating, what is super easy, what is complete and utter BS, what really truly works, and we want to do as we run and grow and build our businesses, not only in the offline world, but in the online world as well. How do we add an online component to our businesses and our life for our brick and mortar, for our corporation? Or how do we create just an online business because we want to do what we want, when we want, where we want, with whomever we want, wearing what we want, like our pajamas. I did that for a couple of years in order to create the life and the world that we want. And this is my where I document that journey. Now today, idiom was between a rock and a hard place, which is always a dilemma, which is why I called this dilemma. How do we deal with dilemmas? How do we deal with situations where we feel like we're between a rock and a hard place? There's a lot of this going on right now. I did a little experiment last week, and you know, I don't regret it, but I kind of regret it that I put myself out there to be open up to all kinds of crap because I wanted to see where people in my circle are at. Sometimes we forget that we surround ourselves with people that think like us and believe like us and do like we do. And sometimes we need to step out of that to see another perspective, to see things from another point of view. And I'm no different than anyone else. I know that this is my world, and guess what? The world is too big for us to consider everything. So we each create our own little world, our own little sphere of influence, and our own little comfort zone place. And I'm no different than that. So I did a little experiment, and I was a little bit disappointed in humanity across the board in terms of our distance from the golden rule and how we treat one another. I grew up and I've always thought and believed since I was in kindergarten and since I was a little kid, because my parents instilled that in me, that you treat other people the way that you want to be treated. And I discovered that there's a whole lot of people that don't follow or believe in the golden rule. And that my dilemma is the same as anyone else's. Sometimes we just don't know how to respond or what to do. So what do we do in that situation? And I believe we do what is in alignment with who we really are, in alignment with our core values, and we behave consistently with that. And we filter everything we do and say and think and feel through the lens of who we really are. And then who we want to show up in the world as, who we want to be, and what we want to move toward. And if we do that, will we always make the right decision? Will we always show up in the most appropriate way? Probably not, because guess what? We're all freaking human beings, and we're doing the best we can at any given time. I look back at being a mom, right? My kids are grown up, and they're freaking absolutely amazing human beings. I am so proud of my son and daughter. I get beside myself sometimes because I see them making decisions and choices and behaving in ways that I had hoped they would as adults, in terms of being kind and helping other human beings and supporting other people. But you know, you raise your kids and you pray and you hope they'll be that way, but when they demonstrate it in ways that you hadn't even imagined possible, that is, you know, it's the same with the people that we work with and we interact with. When they go out and they become more and they show up more as who they really are, that is super duper exciting. So it's really fun to watch. But we do that by being true to who we are, being who we frickin' really are. And I didn't always show up as who I am. Heck, you know, for 30 years or over a quarter century in corporate America, and then even in my own businesses, I was busy doing what I thought I should do to be a good business owner and a good wife and a good mom and a good everything. And did it always match how I really felt inside? No, I never got any sleep. I never ate right. I didn't take care of myself. Was that good? Well, it was good for other people, but it was super duper bad for me, right? And so it wasn't being consistent and in alignment with who I really am. Even though if someone asked me, I would say, yeah, it's important to take care of yourself. Well, yeah, it's important to, but why the hell aren't you doing it? And if I would have asked myself that question, maybe I would have changed some of my health challenges that I've had over the years. But I didn't even know to ask that question. So often we forget that we don't know what we don't know. We don't even know the right questions to ask sometimes in given situations. So dilemma. We all have the human condition and the human dilemma. And we're all in a position to be moving toward what it is that we want and to always be a better human being. Now, does that mean there isn't evil in the world and that there aren't some people that are just plain a-holes that want to make everybody else's life as miserable as their own? No, because there's that out there too. And you get to the point where you kind of feel sorry for people that are so miserable and so ornery and so down all the time. And why do I feel bad for them? Because that's where I was. When I was running through my life like a chicken with my head cut off, I wasn't very happy. I was judgmental, I was ornery, and mostly I wasn't happy with myself because I knew I wasn't showing up as I really wanted to. I was in businesses I didn't love. I was working on things and projects that weren't important to me, that were important for other people, but they weren't important for me. So we always have that dilemma to match ourselves with who we really are. And is it scary to show up and be yourself? Yeah, you know why? Because people are always judging other people. It doesn't matter who you are. Mother Teresa gets judged by people. Gandhi gets judged by people. And these are people in our lifetime that were the closest to saints that any of us would know. So it's hard to show up. It's hard to be yourself. It's hard to let people know that you're human, but it sure beats the alternative. So I say act accordingly to your core values and your beliefs, and try to make the world a better place, and try to always be continually improving yourself and your situation, and you'll be better off. And that always is, improve yourself and your situation without harming other human beings. It's really sad that I even have to say that out loud, because I think that should just be a given. But a lot of people don't think that that's a given, and that that's how we should be, and that we should treat other people the way we want to be treated. I won't even get into the details of why I end that discussion in terms of what's going on in the world right now, because a lot of it's laden with my opinions. I don't know everything, just like nobody else who's mouthing off on social media knows everything. We do not know the intent in any other human being's head. Hell, half the time we don't even know what's going on in our own heads. How would we expect to understand or comprehend or judge or even have an inkling of what the intent of another human being's, or how would we even know the tip of the iceberg of what another human being's intent is? We really don't. And do I get sucked into those discussions sometimes? Yes, and it's embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing to me that I get sucked into things, but that just goes to show you the power of some of these systems and mechanisms that are working in our life. And one of those is social media. One of those is the news and the media. It has the potential, and it's designed intentionally to suck us in and take us on the journey it wants to take us on. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a journey in our own individual best interest. Often, and almost all the time, it's not in our best interest. The headlines are designed to shock and awe and stop us in our tracks so that we give some of our attention to who's ever sharing those headlines. All right, that's enough of my rant for today. I'm playing with my rock. So between a rock and a hard place was the idiom for supersize your business today. Day 154 of doing one fun thing every day, and that was to take a bunch of rubber bands or some ordinary thing and turn it into something different and fun. See things differently, which is so appropriate for what's going on in the world. See things differently. Do not take things on face value. Think for yourself. I remind myself every single day to ask myself some questions. Is this true? Is this just someone's opinion dressed up as headlines or facts? Because so much bullshit that we're all falling for is manipulated for someone else's agenda and presented in a way that's inflammatory to get all of us fighting against each other. And guess what? 90% or 99% of every American and every humans in our country are good people. It is 1% that is effing up and manipulating the rest. And it's sad. And maybe it's, 90, 10%. I don't know the numbers. Statistics, you can lie and you can say anything you want with statistics. That's what makes me laugh about headlines. You can lie and say anything you want with headlines by tweaking one word, right? One word or even one letter of one word. You can make things look any way that you want. And so once you know that, you look at everything with a much more analytical, skeptical mind, and that always leaves us better off, is if we're saying and asking ourselves evaluating questions, is this really true? The first thing we should always ask is this even true, or is this, and I had a reality and facts discussion with somebody online the other day, and I'm like, I have no idea what your reality is, but guess what? You have no idea what my reality is either. You have no idea what I've been through. You have no idea who I am or what I stand for. And even if you watch all 3,000 some, or listen to 3,000 of my podcast episodes, you still freaking don't know who I am or what my intent is, or, and anything about me. I mean, I think about my ex-husband, and, we were married over 25 years, and I still don't really know a whole lot about how his brain worked and how he viewed life and situations, because we saw things very differently. And as much as I tried to understand and figure it out, I couldn't comprehend it. We're human beings, and we have, unlimited capacity to understand and learn and sense things, but most of us don't use it, me included. We forget to use our common sense, and common sense isn't so common anymore. So Get Up and Go Challenge Day 9 today. We are on O, the big O of SOAP, and the framework for turning challenges into the changes and the stepping stones that catapult you to whatever you want. I was challenged to do a 40-day challenge, so of course I immediately said yes, and don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm figuring it out every single day as I go along the way. And since I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of challenges, it's pretty easy to just, every day come up with and talk about a challenge with respect to getting up and going and doing what you can do with what you've got right now, being resourceful, and how to make sure that you get the results in days that take a lot of people months and even years to achieve, because you're putting forth a concerted effort on a focused area of your life, something that you want to achieve. So working on that. 4-year-old granddaughter will be here any minute, and I'm dilly-dallying and throwing a rock around. So I'm going to sign off. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, hit me up in the comments below. I'm working on a bunch of branding things in a branding mastermind and coaching program that I'm in. So I need to find time to carve out and work on some things that are simplifying and streamlining and focusing in on one thing, which is something I've been coaching people to do for decades, yet it's taken me decades, and being online for 3 years or so now. What is it, 17, 18? Yeah, over 3 years, because we're in May already, or we're in June already, to actually do what I say I'm going to do, which is totally unlike me. So I'm kind of kicking myself for taking so long. But does that do any good? Beating ourselves up for something we haven't done yet? No, because we can't do it until we're ready to do it. All right, have an amazing day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.